もっと大きく力強く、もっと優しく温かく、味わい深いスーパースターでありたい。はじける美味しさポーク&ビーフ、伊藤ハムのバイエルン。
バイエルン is a superstar. Yeah.
私は美味しいハムを届けます。
あなたに美味しい伊藤ハム。
私のプライド、伝承の味、伊藤ハムの贈り物。
もっと大きく力強く、もっと優しく温かく、味わい深いスーパースターでありたい。はじける美味しさポーク&ビーフ、伊藤ハムのバイエルン。
バイエルン It's a superstar. Yeah.
With something soft and warm, your song fills the air.
強さも温かさもおふくろのスープからもらった。スープの美味しさを作ったクノールスープ。私は美味しいハムを贈ります。ハムの名品、伝承の味、伊藤ハムの贈り物。
伊藤ハム is 美味しい。
愛と勇気と缶ビール。
We can make dreams come true. Together.
キリン缶ビール。
バイエルン is superhero.
はじける美味しさ伊藤ハムのバイエルン。伊藤ハム2つのビッグチャンス。1、クイズに答えてスタローンと遊ぼう。2、美味しく食べて選んでプレゼント。
今年も贈ります。私のプライド、伝承の味。
美味しさありがとう。
伊藤ハムの贈り物。
With something soft and warm, your song fills the air.
暖かくて丸くていろんなものが溶けている。クノールが20年目に作った新しいスープ、新発売。
Knorr, it's my taste.
伝承粗挽きはじける美味しさバイエルン。超ミニサイズポークビッツ。そして伊藤ハムのフライドチキン。
伊藤ハムからあなたへ。
世界のプロレスだ。
And welcome back to the IWAR Network Tubecast. I'm your host, Alex G, and with me this evening we have Matt and we have Aaron. What's going on tonight, gentlemen?
Hey.
I have no idea what you just said. Cut the shit. It's weird.
The giant choke slam yell.
Yes. Remember that? That was ridiculous.
I remember that. I remember the devastating moment when The Rock was like, "That's the bathroom break, brother," or whatever he put it. It was just like it was like dead on.
Ridiculous.
Like when you watch those rap challenges, not like the one on Rampage last night, but the ones that like people really like say so personal. Like,
Ooh. Well, who's in the chat? Because I don't see the chat up. That's disturbing me.
I'm in the chat. There's 2 people watching now.
All right, that's it.
Saturday Night Edition. We're gonna get. We only
That's
get
true.
the Russian boss. We don't get the Russian boss anymore.
I know they're busy fighting a war, from what I understand. So there's that. So
Sacrifices have been made.
Who's the guy with Sandman?
that's Dick Johnson.
And what was I just remember him being like he came out and like ran around oiled up and like left.
Yeah, that's basically it. That's basically it. Trying to figure out why this is not working. So, guys, this will be the TT edition of the Tubecast. So, welcome. But I do want to tell a personal story while I have you guys' attention here for a moment. Historically, I have interactions with wrestling fans, and historically and frequently, they're terrible, awful. I hate wrestling fans. I dislike most people who like the things that I like. I don't know, it's weird. It's just the way it is. They're obnoxious, smelly, losers on occasion. So I don't really like them. I don't know why. So I went to Lowe's yesterday because I was fixing my sprinklers outside. So I was digging them up, changing out some of the heads, I had to replace a couple of solenoids, yada, yada, yada. So I go into Lowe's, and I'm wearing a NWO shirt here. So I'm walking in there and get my stuff. I go up to the cashier, the only one there because it's Lowe's and they have no more cashiers, but whatever. It's all a story. So I go up to her. She's like, "Oh, NWO." So I'm thinking like, "Oh, this lady's gonna give me some shit about the Illuminati again." Because historically, when I wear the NWO shirts, I guess there's an Illuminati tie there, apparently. So I get lectured on the evils of the New World Order and the evils of the Illuminati, and I should not be wearing that shirt. Also happens when I wear my Bullet Club shirt too. On occasion, people like they're not wrestling fans and like, what the fuck is that? That's awesome. And then you find out within about 30 seconds that they're huge gun nuts, which happens. So she's like, "Oh, you're into wrestling?" I'm like, "Oh, thank God." She's like, "Yeah, like I like wrestling." He's like, "Do you know who Chris Jericho is?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know who Chris Jericho is. I've been on his cruise the last 4 years." So this 7-year-old woman at the register at Lowe's, the cashier, is like she goes to the Jericho cruise every year.
70?
Yeah, definitely 70. Definitely 70 years old.
You tell how many trains that run on her?
From the bruises on our arms, a couple. So no.
Yeah.
So I thought that was refreshing. And I was talking to her like, "I went to WrestleMania." She's like, "Yeah, I've been to WrestleMania." And I talk about the big event, which is the wrestling convention that I frequent. I haven't frequented them in a while, but that's the one I usually go to. And it was cool. It was cool to have a positive interaction with a wrestling fan. And she happened to be 100 years old, and she loves the Young Bucks, and she loves Kenny Omega, which I also thought was interesting because you wouldn't think so. You know what I mean? Because she's like 70 years old. I thought you would figure she's like, "Oh, I'm into Randy Orton or whatever." You know what I mean? Because you don't think that. Because I guess demographically, I think AEW does skew younger than WWE. But wrestling fans are going to wrestling fans, and she's probably been a wrestling fan for a long time. So, but usually it's funny because like in New York is different because anytime we talk about wrestling in New York, some old dude will come out of the fucking woods or something and start talking about Bruno Sammartino out his ass. You know, anytime we talk about any kind of wrestling in New York, because they usually I used to watch Bruno back in the day, and it'll be ridiculous.
I think you found your soulmate, Alex.
This 70-year-old woman?
Yeah, did you get her number?
No, because I was really concerned about the lack of iron in her body because of all the bruises on her arms.
You can say, I might be lacking iron, but you can.
I mean, if she gives me, like, if we go on vacation on a Jericho cruise, I might consider it.
I will tell you, when I was at work a month back, there was one time when I ran into a couple, and she had an NJPW shirt on, and he had somebody's shirt on that I didn't recognize. But it was like, oh, you know, hey, you know, 'cause on my water bottle I had the AAA and one of those stuff. So like, oh, hey, you know. But it is always a really risky venture when someone says like, oh, you like wrestling?
Yeah.
I think of the guys that came in and they had the, oh God, it was like the Dungeon of Doom and somebody else. It was like they had 2 T-shirts and they're like, oh.
Dungeon of Doom. If someone had a Dungeon of Doom shirt, I'm fucking buying it.
I was really like, holy shit. And the other shirt was, I want to say, like Alex Swag, like some really obscure guy. Like it wasn't, you know, Glacier, but that kind of quality.
Right, like, ooh, that's a deep cut.
It is.
Yeah.
I remember saying to them, like, I think I made a joke with them. I said, if you have an Alex Wright shirt, I'm going to give you $10. That's rare too. You know, when you see people out there, sometimes what happens too is you have the mistaken thing. Like I always go back to my days at the store in Boston, and you have a lot of customers from international, and you drop a funny dime on them, be like, hey, how about this? And they'd be like, okay, or they just like understand English and be like, ah. So in a similar vein, you find someone with a shirt like that, and you're like, oh, hey, you know, you like AEW? AEW sucks.
Yeah, I always go into those interactions with like you kind of just try to feel them out and see where their level of knowledge is at, because I don't want to be like, you know, they say something about The Miz or Randy Orton, and you want to come out and like, oh, did you watch the fucking New Japan yesterday? Because they look at you like you're an asshole. You know what I mean? Like you gotta be careful on those deep cuts sometimes. So like I try to know my audience when speaking. So if someone's super into WWE, I'm not gonna go into anything else with them. I'll just talk about you know what Roman Reigns is doing or something. Why is my chat box not working? It's really bothering me. So where are we starting? Want to start with the NWL?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
So Aaron, whoa, go ahead. What?
I see you. Did you write A in the chat?
Yeah, but it's not on the screen.
Ah.
It's supposed to be on the screen. Hence why there's a screen there. So I'm trying to figure that out. So what's going down? The NWL.
Well, this will hopefully buy Alex some time to figure out his chat. But there's always lots going on in the NWL. Another action-packed cycle. I missed the past results Tubecast, but I'll just run down. I'll do a quick rundown. Mostly mentioning that No Limits Nick Dane continues his tear through the NWL. And it sounds like this guy, you know, he's on the verge of making history. I think he's got about 3 or 4 cycles left. He was NWL League champion once again. And as we were talking about the overall NWL rankings throughout history, and it sounds like No Limits Nick Dane is pretty darn close to kind of taking over the top spot in the league. I don't know if this is a good time, Matt, to go into the rookie brawl, or if you want to save that till later.
No, I can talk about it.
Cool. So that kind of plays into like the streak that he's been on and how close Nick Dane is to making history here in the NWL.
Sure. So the short version is, as many of you know, I run a guy called the Teamster, Theo the Teamster, in the NWL. He's there. It's just
The worst.
A function of stirring the pot, giving people some extra work with, a little fun, and we have the Teamster Challenge going on. So I've been using doubles on his strategy for quite some time. And recently we said after last cycle, we're going to drop the Teamster Challenge and go with something else and kind of reorganize those 3 matches and make it more players get involved. Because if you're not a tag team wrestler, you're kind of like, So, long story short, Teamster pulled a 500 last cycle. He did a Teamster. And I was like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that. And then I saw that, like, Nick Jane had a 500 and so did Chainsaw Chucky. Chainsaw Chuck. And then I got the email, I saw someone said, he did a Teamster one rookie brawl. So I went and looked on it, I was like, oh shit, he did. So I emailed that away and said, hey, probably a first, but can I have you not give me a report hit here and give it to one of the rookies who deserve it? So, however they broke it down, I think Dane had a better flow, if you will.
Right.
Yeah. So they gave it to Nick Dane, so that puts him at 255 points all time in the NWL, which is now tied for third. So the top all-time points are 300 by Bruce Inferno. So if Nick Dane wins one more league championship, that's 50 points, he would then vault into first place all time. And he would also become the first wrestler to ever win 4 NWL championships. So no pressure on Nick Dane.
I think it's 3 or 4 more cycles to do that too. So
yeah, so plenty of time.
Yeah.
I also got this email from Johnny B. I think you'll appreciate this. Well, I'm not surprised you said this is the right thing. I would have qualified you and bestowed the honor upon the rightful champion anyway. And by rightful champion, I don't mean the wrestler with the best strategies out of those who haven't yet experienced the thrill of holding the belt. You, of all people, should know the IWA has only gifted 1 title in its 37-year history. Damn you, Johnny. So, anyways, that is the way for that.
I think we need a official Johnny B avatar. I think that's what we need.
Well, we have one kind of in as well. I started using it a long time ago. I started using Bruce Willis.
I gotta find the perfect. There has to be the perfect one here, somewhere, that I can find. That encompasses everything that we need to know about good old JB. I'm gonna.
I picture him as kind of like Mick Foley grown up.
No.
Or Mr. Hand.
He is way too refined for that.
You know, honestly, I thought of this, and I don't know why he popped in my head. I was watching one of the Mission Impossibles, and there was this British bad guy who had glasses on, and just looked like this really, devious, evil mastermind. And Johnny B popped in my head, like Johnny B Jr. I was like, I bet he's an evil mastermind-looking guy. Like, you could see him being like, and now I will start the countdown, and you will throw it away.
I think I found an appropriate picture.
Oh, boy. It's probably going to be bad.
It's not. Why does everyone think everything's so bad? I don't understand. We don't understand what's happening right now. I feel that, for someone like myself, I think I've been on my best behavior for quite a while. It's hard, by the way. It's organically obnoxious. It's a product of my childhood.
You're doing great, buddy.
Am I? Oh, thank you. I always need the help. A little encouragement goes a long way for someone like me. So.
Speaking of encouragement, back to Nick Dane. I guess what I was going to say about him as well is that I was kind of thinking about this earlier today. I think there's like sort of a trajectory that NWL players go on, and I've noticed this especially towards the end of last year with guys like Mick Ferrari, Rod Camino, Stevie Vertigo, and some of the other guys that have come through the NWL. It takes a little while to kind of gain your game and kind of hit your stride, and then with those instances in particular, you kind of see guys hit their stride and they're starting to rack up league titles, and guys start to figure out the game. And I think that's definitely what's happening with Nick Dane. And he's got a few more cycles to go. So, I mean, I think anyone out there who's listening, especially NWL guys, it might be a little bit discouraging when you're hitting like 489, 492, and it kind of keeps going like that. But if you kind of keep at it, you'll hit your stride eventually. And then, you know, all those guys that I just mentioned kind of go out of the NWL with a bang. And I think that's part of the reason the NWL exists, is to kind of give guys a place to kind of figure out the game a little bit and hit their stride before they, you know, branch out into some of the other leagues. So it sounds, I've heard instances in the past where guys, and I experienced this when I was younger with the IWA as well, you know, you're in the game and you're kind of just getting slaughtered, and you really want to enjoy the game, but you know, when you're just getting demolished every cycle, it takes some of the enjoyment out. So I think the NWL really served the purpose in that regard.
I agree, 100%. I think that's the whole point of the NWL, because you can tell you right now that I guess everyone's story is just about the same. I played IWA when I was 7 years old, had no idea what I was doing, and got fucking massacred. And that's everyone's story. I mean, it's a very common story. So now that we have a place for these people to land and they can learn, and there's so many tools at their disposal for this, is that it's fantastic.
The other name I was going to mention is Rhett Grady, of course. And
who?
The Contra Hammer.
I don't know about that guy.
But I mean, you know, you move on to the DRL and the IWL, which are significantly tougher leagues. So hopefully in the NWL, you get a sense of the game, and you check out those workshops and kind of get a feel for things. And then by the time you move on to those leagues, I personally love seeing NWL guys, you know, hit on the title page.
Oh, for sure.
And DRL, because they're so tough.
Agreed. And it gives them a good, you know, they're coming in with a bang, and that's what I like. It's very important that you know we do that.
We've also been lucky to have some really strong TT coming through the NWL. But of course, we start this TT with, I'm not sure if LePage Turner went through the NWL. I'm sorry.
He did. He did.
Oh, LePage Turner not only went to the NWL, he got the entire roster. That's always like one of my favorite memories. The entire roster, without my knowledge, got together and wrote like a 4-page sneak attack on LePage Turner, where everyone in the league beat him up, including this young fan that he had insulted before. It was beautiful, and the best part was in the end, he's in like a hospital, and the kid came in out of his wheelchair and started hitting him with a stick. It was brutal, but it was great.
Well, in this cycle, we had the return of LePage Turner to the NWL. LePage Turner is the current IWAR world champion. It's been quite a while since we've seen Turner with this title, so he's kind of doing a tour of the IWAR at the moment, kind of speaking to his subjects, if you will. And I think with this TP, you might see a similar effect.
Yay! It's not working.
He doesn't hold back on the NWL roster. I mean, he shows a little bit of love for Caesar Sterling, but that's pretty much where the love ends in this TP. You know, he's calling out guys like Ryoto on Ryo because he doesn't like guys who wear masks.
Me neither. They're ugly.
For Halloween time. And then he's talking about Colonel Doom as well, kind of touching on some of the interactions between Colonel Doom and Monster Truck Tanaka in the DRL. He's basically saying, you know, he shows up to this NWL show. Some of the rookies are coming up to him for autographs, you know. So he's you know, accusing the roster of being a bunch of amateurs, and you know they should, you know, show a little bit more professionalism next time. I'm not sure if, you know, I think LePage Turner got a pretty warm welcome by the NWL, but, you know, maybe a little bit too warm. So I think Commissioner Johnny B might have to have a word with the roster, you know, about, like, being a little bit more professional when we have these NWL legends coming through. So
I agree.
You know, hopefully LePage Turner wasn't too turned off by his experiences in
sexually.
The NWL. Well, I don't think he has to worry about that.
Oh,
you know? He throws in a bit about Oliver Livingston as well. He calls Oliver a phony. He says he gets more sick to his stomach than when he visited a Chick-fil-A recently. He doesn't eat there.
Overrated, by the way.
He finds the thought nauseating. I don't think we have those up here in Canada, actually.
Overrated.
It's probably for the best, it sounds like.
I don't know why people like that shit.
But then
The shit is gross!
we have KFC here, but not Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yeah, KFC's everywhere.
KFC is a good way to like recalibrate your standards.
The best like spicy chicken sandwich, unless you're gonna go into like a particular place, right? So like local restaurants, I'm throwing out there. Some of the big, like your Applebee's. I'm talking about like straight up fast food. You can get the shit out of the drive-through. It's probably Wendy's number 1, Popeye's number 2, chicken sandwiches. I think that's fair.
Maybe if anyone's listening, you can put your thoughts in the chat as to what your favorite chicken sandwich.
Oh, by the way, guys, I did find the new official avatar of Johnny B.
Who's that?
That's exactly who you think it is.
Bruno Sammartino?
No.
Randy Orton.
No. I put a picture up. He's on the screen.
I see it.
Yeah. Do you not know who that is? You do, because everyone.
I do?
Yeah, we all do.
You got Billy Corgan?
No. You guys. Where's Luke when I need him? Unbelievable. Well, at your leisure, you can reverse Google search that if you want to, guys.
Is that Mark Zuckerberg?
I found a GIF of him too, so I want to put that GIF up instead of the picture. So there you go.
But yes, up next we've got the Teamster and Theo the Teamster. He announced that because Mark Justice and Theo the Teamster won the NWL TV Tag Team titles, they are awarded the winners of the Teamster Challenge, which results in Mark Justice getting a briefcase full of contracts, 10 free matches for winning the Teamster Challenge. There's kind of a celebration. We got Mark Justice and the Teamster and Theo the Teamster in the ring. The celebration is cut short by Caesar Sterling, who slides in. He takes the briefcase full of free match contracts and smacks Mark Justice in the head with the briefcase. Theo the Teamster, I mean, he comes from quite the lineage of professional wrestling, but I'm not sure if this guy has the stomach for wrestling because, Teamster and Caesar Sterling want Theo to participate in the beatdown, but Theo just can't seem to bring himself to do it. He might have even been developing a bit of a friendship with Mark Justice. But, as we'll see later in this series of TTs, there's a plan for Theo the Teamster, and, I have a feeling he's going to earn his stripes. He's going to be toughening up a little bit in the next little while, so we'll get to that shortly. Up next, we have the Stable Death Syndicate, which is comprised of Zanor, Shackles Malone, and Cell Block Charlie. Zanor was recently awarded the X1 Championship of the NWL. He comes out to the ring. He's basically insulting the fans. Zanor is basically like a Conan the Barbarian type character from the Schwarzenegger movies in the 80s. He's telling the fans that their arms are puny, just insulting everyone. He's got particular beef with Nick Dane. Nick Dane's partner, Wolf Keenan, was a former X1 champion. And he's basically running down a whole list of NWL stars that he's basically taken out. He sent Harry Hurdoff in a stretcher to win the X1 championship. That was a stretcher match that happened at Clash of Champions. And then he said he's going to have some revenge coming towards Mark Justice and Dark Danger pretty soon. And then this whole TT wraps up with Zanor challenging Honor Revolt and Mark Justice to an 8-man San Quentin Penitentiary prison match, which I've gotten word from Commissioner Johnny B. This match is going to happen at the next NWL Futurescape, and so we'll look forward to seeing that. Xanor is just a guy, he's been a magnet for, for revenge and for hatred as of late. He ran a risky business style TT a few cycles ago where he pretty much beat up the entire roster. And, that's definitely a way to get guys, talking smack about you and sneak attacking you back. So we'll just have to see what happens with Xanor and Death Syndicate. We recently had HNR actually as well. Wolf Keenan and Lachlan Kincaid beat Death Row for the NWL Young Lions Tag Team Championship. So there's just a lot going on there. There's a lot of heat between Death Syndicate and HNR at the moment. Will it be settled at the next Futurescape in the San Quentin Prison Rules match? We'll just have to wait and see. Up next, we've got a TT from a newcomer, Vicious Vic Morgan, a newcomer to the NWL. It's great to see these guys dropping some TTs right away. This guy is 6'5", close to 250 pounds. He's basically saying that he's Lone Star State's most dangerous export. He's calling out Sheepdog Roe Grady, which is kind of understandable. Roe Grady, Rec Grady's little brother, is kind of an unlikable guy. Back on the NWL roster recently, but he's now in the IWL, so we'll have to figure out how to get Vic set up with an adversary coming up soon. Up next, we've got a TT from Blind Fury, who kind of seems like he's coming in and out. He was previously associated with Lone Star Redneck and Big Money Bonnie Banks. He says that if he doesn't get a place on one of the pay-per-views soon, he's going to take his talents elsewhere, which it's been a little bit hard to follow the trajectory of Blind Fury in his time in the NWL.
Because he's blind?
That's right. I think his time is winding up pretty soon. Anyways, he's blind. He's apparently a furious guy. I like his song, I Ain't Never Scared by Bone Crusher. That takes me back to grade 12 in high school back in 2004. Good tune. Good tune, but we'll have to see what happens with Blind Fury. He's kind of been popping in and out, so I guess maybe that's kind of a word of advice to other guys in the NWL. If you're popping in and out with TTs, it's kind of hard to plan, a storyline for your guy, and it's hard to keep you active in the pay-per-view. So the more TTs you can drop with consistency, the better we can do to kind of keep you involved in the storylines and the pay-per-views. Up next, we've got Honor Revolt. They're quickly becoming one of the most notorious stables in the NWL. If they have 3 or 4 cycles left in the league, I think they're going to make some major waves and definitely carve their names into the record books. The song Can't Stop by Pre-Thing plays. Out comes Nick Dane, Lachlan Kincaid, and Wolf Keenan. They're, of course, calling out Death Syndicate. This feud has been going on for a good 3 or 4 cycles, and it doesn't show any signs of stopping. There's some major bad blood boiling up here. So Nick Dane, he's on the verge of becoming a potential 4-time NWL League champion. Wolf Keenan's a former X1 champion, and now he's the current Young Lions Tag Team champion with Lachlan Kincaid, the first wrestler to do that. So that's pretty cool as well. Nick Dane runs down all of his accomplishments since joining the NWL, which includes multiple-time league champion, television champion, and some even bigger titles, which include the American, the Metropolitan, and the Elite champion, multiple-time Rookie Brawl winner, and the current IWAR Revolution champion as well.
Doesn't deserve it.
Well, I guess he beat Stevie Vertigo.
Who?
So I'm inclined to agree with you on that one.
Scott, am I louder than everybody else? I don't know.
Always try to put yourself over, Alex.
Always. Hold on. Let me see what's going on here.
You want me to hold on for a minute?
Hold on, yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm not seeing anything. How about now? Say something.
Hello.
Oh no.
Scott, how was that? Is that much better?
Says very much.
Okay.
Check
Continue.
1 2. Check 1 2.
Continue, please.
All right. So speaking of Stevie Vertigo, Nick Dane mentions him at the end of the IWAR Revolution title match. Stevie called off his stablemates in the Legends of the New Wave, and Nick Dane appreciated that gesture. He expected less of Stevie due to his past. I have a feeling these two are going to meet again, especially if Stevie Vertigo beats Luther Alexander in the Best Series.
Did not.
Which the winner of that will get an IWAR Revolution title shot. So, we'll have to see what shakes down with that. But he does say, he does call out Johnny Carnage from the Legends of the New Wave, who's the current BRL star. He doesn't think as much of Johnny Carnage. He pretty much calls him out, so that's pretty cool to see an NWL guy calling out a guy in the BRL. Of course, I think it was my understanding that Honor Revolt would be heading to the BRL when they're set to graduate, which I think is in September. But were we discussing changes to that plan, Matt?
What's that? I'm sorry. But
Were you going to give HNR an option of re-entering?
yes, yeah. Just because it was so long ago, and I feel like they've basically, kind of surpassed the window anyway. So it'd be fine if they want to enter the draft again.
Yeah, and have you made that announcement, or should we reach out to them, or is this hot breaking news on the Tubecast?
Hot breaking news.
All right, so hot breaking news right now. It has been declared by IWAR Commissioner Matt Riley that Honor Revolt will be given the choice to re-enter the IWAR draft in 2022 as a result of them being drafted so long ago, and they had quite the tenure of the NWL still to go. So if they're set to graduate in September, they will have the option of re-entering the IWAR draft for 2022.
Yes. You heard it here first-ish.
Then up next, we've got your everyday hero, Oliver Livingston. He's hanging out in the Hamptons on Long Island, his beautiful mansion. He lost the Young Lions #1 contender 4-way at Clash of Champions. So Oliver Livingston is feeling pretty dejected. Usually we're used to seeing Oliver Livingston kind of upbeat. He's usually saving people throughout his promos. Dapper Dan D comes to his door, but he's rejected by Oliver Livingston. He's just coming off this big loss at Clash of Champions, so he basically tells Dapper Dan D that he just doesn't have it in him to cut a promo right now. He's going to pay for Dapper Dan D to go for a ride with his chauffeur to wherever he wants, but he doesn't have it in him to cut a promo right now. But I have a feeling that Oliver Livingston's going to have a big bounce back pretty soon. Up next, we've got Dark Danger. This guy is kind of, in the middle of a few different storylines at the moment, as we'll see later through the rest of the Trash Talks this cycle. Dark Danger, of course, won the Fatal 4-Way #1 contender match, so he's going to be the #1 contender for the Young Lions Championship at Clash of Champions 24, which is set to take place in October. He's going to be the first contestant to take on Mark Justice in the 3-way match. The other contestant will be determined by the Willowick Classic tournament, which is going to take place over the next few cycles. He's currently involved in a feud with not in a feud, but we have kind of a working relationship happening between my two dads and Dark Danger at the moment. I'm curious to see how this is going to develop. I think this is a really good fit as far as characters. But there's another wrench thrown into this mix later on with the TTs, which also has me pretty curious to see how this is going to play out. Basically, at the moment, Dark Danger is teaming up with my two dads, Father Arturo and Father Conrad. And, they seem to have a strange relationship developing. We're going to have to see how that plays out. But Dark Danger's going to be gunning for Mark Justice soon. And then with my two dads in his corner, I think this guy can aim straight for the top of the NWL. The next TT is by the Nord tag team, Tormund Eriksson and Skagrim Redbeard. It's really great to see a TT from these guys. I think they could be a really formidable duo. They're saying there's no honor in the NWL, so they're going to be, looking to change that in the coming cycles. They're basically a couple of Vikings. They look like pretty tough dudes. They're 6'4" and they're 6'6". Both one's from Norway, one's from Sweden. But yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens with these two. They could be gunning for the NWL Young Lions Tag Team Championships, I think, in the next coming months. Up next, we've got Caesar Sterling's Excellence Academy. We turn betas into alphas. And so in the previous couple of cycles, it seems like Caesar Sterling's been hyping up his new academy, where he's going to be taking some NWL stars and kind of like trying to whip them into shape. And his first student who's signed up for his program, of course, I think it was his dad who signed him up because, Hio de Teamster isn't quite, making the cut so far in the NWL. So the Teamster took it on himself to sign Hio up for the Excellence Academy. We see Caesar Sterling come out. He's kind of looking like a boxing coach. And then shortly behind him is Hio de Teamster wearing a black shirt that says student on him. Caesar's always got a lot of heat. He's a very controversial star in the NWL right now. And I personally, as controversial as he is, I think this might be a good move for Hio de Teamster because he kind of was spinning his tires in the NWL. But now that he's under the wing of Caesar Sterling, it could be a pretty good career move for Hio. He looks less like a panda now, which is kind of nice as well. But basically, Caesar, it came down at Clash of Champions. Caesar was in the Young Lions Championship match, and Hio de Teamster had a chance to interfere in the match and help Caesar win the Young Lions Championship. But Hio de Teamster choked. The moment was a little bit too big for Caesar's new student. And as a result, Mark Justice won the Young Lions Championship. And further repercussions from him choking is that it sounds like Caesar is not going to be holding back with his new student as well. He is going to buy a spot for Hio de Teamster in the next Clash of Champions. Hio de Teamster is going to be in the Young Lions #1 contender Fatal 4-Way. There's going to be, I think, a lot of potential for further action between Caesar Sterling and Nick Dane as well as Mark Justice. So, Caesar's quickly becoming a pretty big star in the NWL. And, I look forward to seeing where some of those feuds go. Following that is something we're becoming accustomed to in the NWL. It's Scumbag 101, Lessons from Caesar Sterling. We have a picture of a lovely young woman. She seems to be a mechanic working on a car. And the caption underneath says, "Silly woman, that's not the kitchen." This message was brought to you by the scumbag Caesar Sterling.
What a dick.
So, he's got lots of wisdom. Whether you take it or not is up to you, but I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing some more wisdom from Caesar Sterling in the coming months. Up next, we've got a TT from Another newcomer in the NWL, quickly making waves in the league. It's Ryoto on Ryo, a masked wrestler. Some great presentation of his TT so far. He really builds the scene through his writing as well, which is really cool. It's basically a dark figure shrouded in mist, walking through the mud. And then it turns out that it is my two dads, Father Arturo and Father Bartolo. They're dragging a hooded figure through the mud. They come up to a door and they knock, and Ryoto on Ryo answers the door. Ryoto believes that they brought him Dark Danger, who my two dads are becoming affiliated with, but it turns out that my two dads have brought him Zanroar. So that was a bit of a swerve for me because we had this build up and Dark Danger's been associated with my two dads, who they've kind of been painting the picture of like cleansing Dark Danger's soul, and Ryoto has been doing the same, but it ends up being Zanroar, who that just goes to show you that he's increasingly becoming the target of some of these NWL stars. Ryoto might also be forming an alliance with my two dads. So if that ends up being a stable featuring Ryoto on Ryo, Dark Danger, and my two dads, that's something I would really love to see in the NWL. But we're just going to have to see how that one develops over the coming months. Up next, we've got new NWL Young Lions champion, Mark Justice, cutting a promo. He beat Caesar Sterling and Machine at the recent Clash of Champions. In this promo, we've got it's the morning following Clash of Champions 23, and it's basically a YouTube kind of like this, kind of a Tubecast kind of situation. Mark Justice is hanging out in Kansas City, and then there's this YouTube show called The 10 Count, which is hosting Mark Justice. The interview is going along. They're celebrating Mark Justice's Young Lions title victory. The victory is still pretty new to Mark Justice, so he's not quite sure, what he can tell them about it. But there is one tidbit that comes out in the interview. They ask Mark Justice, what happened when Honor Revolt gave you their T-shirt? Have you accepted their invitation to join their stable? Mark Justice stands up in front of his camera, takes off his pants. No, I mean his jacket.
Oh, God.
Takes off his jacket.
Mark Justice, heel turn.
To reveal an Honor Revolt shirt. So we officially have a new member of Honor Revolt. We've got Mark Justice joining the team, which I think is a super cool development. I mean, we've got a couple of stables kind of gaining some momentum in the NWL, and we're going to see that come to a head at the next Futurescape when we have Honor Revolt and new member Mark Justice face off against Death Syndicate and a guy that they're newly teaming with, Deadman Zerus, who is also a newcomer in the NWL from Nightmare Court. So we've got wrestlers joining stables, we've got wrestlers leaving stables, we've got lots of developments happening. The big San Quentin Penitentiary prison match coming up at the next Futurescape, which that's going to just be a huge card that's coming together minute by minute here. Speaking of Nightmare Court, we've got Scarlet Briar, Príncipe Oscuro de Sangre, and Hombre Muerto Zeros, which I think is Spanish for Dead Man Zeros.
Sure, yep.
Sounds about right, but they're cutting a promo. They're going to be taking on all kinds of guys, including Dark Danger, Honor Revolt. The one member, Scarlet Briar, is gunning for Ericophobia and Angelina Blanco in the women's division. So it's great to have another newcomer to the NWL women's division, gunning for the Lioness Championship, which will come to a head again at Clash of Champions 24. In our next TT, we've got Confessional Corner featuring my two dads, Father Conrad and Father Arturo. They've got an ongoing developing relationship with Dark Danger. They're hoping to gun for the NWL Young Lions Tag Team Championship. They're also entering in all kinds of IWAR events as well, which I think we're going to touch on those a little bit later. We've got lots of IWAR stuff going on, but it's always great to see NWL guys getting into the mix there as well. They say, Honor Revolt, congratulations on winning the Young Lions Tag Team Championship. But remember, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. So, these guys are definitely going to cross paths with Honor Revolt along the way. We've got lots of great tag teams in the NWL coming along. So, I think that division is just going to keep heating up. And hopefully we keep, providing a great pipeline to the BRL and to the IWL with all the great stars that are coming through the NWL. And last but not least, another member of sort of My Two Dads faction is the current NWL Lioness Championship holder, the Angel of Light, Angelina Blanco. She successfully defended the Lioness Championship at Clash of Champions 23 against Erica Phobia. I have a feeling this feud isn't quite over. She ended up retaining her championship when Erica Phobia wouldn't release the tarantula hold, which of course happens on the ropes. Willie Pinham tried to get her to break it, but she wouldn't. So that resulted in a disqualification, which kind of opens the door for a potential rematch down the line. She also mentions Scarlett Breyer, another female newcomer to the NWL. Maybe Scarlett's going to get a shot at the Lioness Championship down the way. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens in the NWL.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, man, I dig that. Fantastic. Up next. Right, you ready to do the BWL? You want to do BRL first?
Let's do ladies first.
The ladies' choice.
Ladies night, and the rest of the song. Feeling's right, I think.
You're weird. I don't like it. Thanks for the demonetization.
I'm uncomfortable.
Whoa, what?
Scott, who has monkeypox? Darren? What's going on in the chat, guys?
I don't know. I will say that is the Sins guy. Is that the guy you're talking about for Johnny B?
That's his new official avatar. That's another Johnny that I'm very I spent a lot of nights with good old Johnny. So
yeah.
That's the official avatar for Johnny B.
Fan of his work. All right, so BWL. All right, so a little BWL breaking news for those of you who are not aware. The IWAR report sneak peek came out, and it was funny because I hadn't really thought about it, and then I sent a message to Mike. I'm like, hey, I didn't award points yet for IWAR report hits, so I didn't think they would happen already, and they did. So the big news is that in the first time ever, the IWA Ladies World Champion comes out of the BWL, Betty the New. Woo! That's Betty, who's also the, as of yet, all-time leader in points scored for BWL. It's kind of like the tweet that Tony Khan put out about being the longest-running CEO. That's awesome. Oh.
If I'm Tony Khan, I'm taking all the credit for that.
Yeah.
I made Vince retire. I would say that shit all the time.
Put your down, man. You're done. You couldn't keep your pants on. Actually, who was it? Was it Sasha and Naomi, right? That walked out.
Yeah.
They got all that heat, and now they're probably going to be showing up. I hope they show up soon. That'd be nice. Speaking of ladies, surprise ladies national champion, Queen of the Ring, Gina Colada. So that was a nice little surprise too. So that's our breaking BWL report news.
We have a lot of IWAR report hits this cycle.
We've had some recent success. It's almost funny how the IWAR workshop, once it was joined by Mike Cook, has done well.
Yeah, we got Gold Federation, Stevie Vertigo. We got who else? Elite champion Stevie Vertigo, Metropolitan champion Stevie Vertigo,
Rookie
Brawl, of course. I think we talked to him. we'll just talk about that. Pacific Northwest, Texas Jesse Tombstone.
Yeah.
At IWL. So, yeah. Very pleased.
The IWA Tag Champions, Samoan Death Grip.
Never heard of them.
Only the NWL's all-time leading scorers.
I don't know what that is.
100 points. All right, so...
Although I like Mr. D's Nuts out of the ASL.
D's Nuts.
They're still open?
What's open?
I thought the ASL still open? I thought they closed.
ASL still open? Sure. Maybe? I don't know.
I'm going to relaunch the Texas Death League.
Well...
You know, I do have that list of defunct list.
You do?
I do. I do have the list.
Want to say that for the next show, or you want to do it tonight?
Yeah, no. No, I think the show's going to go too long as it is.
That's fine. All right, well, I'll bang through this BWL report.
Gross.
Yes. Suplex outlines the pay-per-view. So the big pay-per-view coming up is, of course, Where the Boys Aren't. And we got Baruch Assault get challenged by Riley Reynolds. We got Wildfire Betty Red defending the Global Championship against Charlotte Wallace. The way we set this up is there are 3 matches that are, head-to-head. And
gross.
There's no heads involved.
We have the Beaver County Street Fight. Rain Grady.
What?
What's happening in this league?
Loser bows. Penny Punk versus Queen of the Ring. Gina Colada. The Triple Threat qualifier number 1 is Better Than You versus Black Widow. But Black Widow's gone, so we're gonna surprise and insert someone with her.
Gross.
Let me see if I think
it's all innuendo.
Oh my god,
that's the way I love it.
The children. Think of the children. Oh boy. So Aria Gunpowder versus Rachel Van Dorn. Huntress versus Zoe Pecadora. The match featuring sensational prodigy Kali Kamura versus Spitfire Jeannie Briggs has been put off because Kali Kamura is gone. So there's that. We'll find something else for Jeannie Briggs to do.
What?
Card subject to change. That's what it's in the
No,
bottom.
I was looking at the funk list, and there's a league that was Casting Couch League.
Hey, man.
Matt, were you in that league?
I have no comment. I plead the fifth.
What's happening?
Commissioner.
No.
No.
I need a full scoop on the Casting Couch League on the next episode.
That's one of those things like, whoa. Didn't age well. All right, tag team match. Zuckaroo Zebob versus Beulah Booger. Starfire Tigress. I'm sorry. Zuckaroo Zebob and Beulah Booger. I can say it right.
Okay.
Starfall Tigress and Vicky Venom. Pinfalls Anywhere. Meat Train versus Addison Killswitch.
Meat Train.
Yes.
Sounds
we'll
gross.
Well, Meat Train's a good name. I'm just saying. So, getting back to things. So, if you have joined the league and not sent me either an avatar or a bio for your wrestler, stop waiting around. Send it to me. It makes it easy for everybody. I'll add it to the report, and we'll be done. So Gina Colada, the Queen of the Ring, confused by Penny Punk, who thinks she's hitting on her and not challenging in the matches. He doesn't quite understand that. She looks to beat Meat Train in their series of the Perfect 10 and reflects on the last time she ran into a train. The match, loser bows match, and how will she respond? So this is a big match. Penny Punk's been talking trash about Gina for quite some time. 10 questions with Rain Grady. So Rain Grady is looking to prove that she is not just, the little sister of Rhett and Rhodes, but she's her own person. Well, I will say that she quite well pulled that off with her win of the National and Queen of the Ring in one cycle. So she's done really well for herself. Let me get to this here. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, so question 1 was, what are you hoping to achieve in the Black Widow League? Unlike these other wrestlers here, I'm just starting my career. Vito is my home now. I want to achieve everything. I go down to the greatest competitive leagues I've ever seen, so it's a really big task. Who is the best striker in the BWL? Because my brother spent a year in the NWL, I've been able to go back and forth and watch footage of the shows. Bonnie Banks, she fights like a banshee, bad out of hell. I admire that. Is anyone in the roster you're planning to go after? So she lists Baruch Assault, Riley Reynolds, Prove Her Worth, She wants Veruca Salt has a big target on her back as the IWAR Women's World Champion. And to compare to men's championship, do you consider BWL is greater than, equal to, or less than BRL, IWL, and NWL? So the BWL is new. Those leagues have years of history. I expect the BWL to be considered the toughest league in the IWAR. But very will happen. So what titles are you going after first? Well, she's already won the Cholitas and the Zenjo titles, so and the Battle Royal. So those big wins have really put her name up there. And what's nice to see is that not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. I want to take a second to talk about the Perfect 10 tournament. So again, this tournament is set up. It's head-to-head, and the way it works is the first people going head-to-head, the first person to score 10 points over the other wins the tournament, wins that round, and moves on. Sorry, I should say. So Spitfire, Junie Briggs, Beulah Booger, and Better Than You already advanced. Guessing that Kimura is going to be out because she's out of the league. Let me look real quick to see if Mike sent me the update. I think he did. Michael Cook, where is your message? There it is. Okay. So, getting this message over here. Here it is. All right. Here's the updated. So I'll give you the fresh live results. So Zoe Pecador beat Black Widow with a 0 score. So to give you an example, right now, Gina Colada is up by 5 on Meat Train. Now, Meat Train could come back and win by 5, and then we're dead even again. So this can go back and forth, I believe. I'm not sure how it quite works, but the idea is first to 10, so maybe it wouldn't matter. But either way, there's a lot of excitement here. And don't forget, the winner of this event gets a shot at the championship. So all the more reason to really nail this one down. Of course, we get a visit from LePage Turner, who's stopping by everywhere. But he doesn't come down to talk smack about the league or the roster, unlike some of his other leagues he's been to. He instead suggests that he's looking to offer his unique advice to help turn one member of the roster into a superstar. Who will it be? All right, next up we have Big Money Bonnie Banks wants a piece of Riley Reynolds since they never settled their beef in the NWL. Vicky Venom feels the BWL has lots of potential as long as certain individuals don't have their lack of ethics imposed in the league. Who could she mean? Clearly not me, because I'm Mr. Ethics. Meat Train has had it with Addison Killswitch and looks forward to the pay-per-view to smash her. Meanwhile, Addison Killswitch can't wait for the pay-per-view because she wants to beat some meat.
There you go.
There it is. Starfall Tigress, who is my favorite obnoxious wrestler here. Starfall Tigress warns Vicky Venom to bring her #1 game in their tag match against Beulah and Zebop, or she'll make her pay. And when I read this promo, I could think it was like when you have meetings at work, if you ever work in retail, and you have that meeting where like, all right, guys, look, everybody needs to be punching in the clock at the right time. If you don't, we're going to fire you. All right, let's have a good day, okay? Good day, everybody.
I literally had that meeting like 2 days ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
I always love when people are like, come in like, you're new, huh? How can you tell? You're punching in while you're still holding your jacket. So, anyways.
Matt, it sounds like you dropped your mic.
Oh, sorry. You hear me?
Talk louder.
Ah, okay. Where was I? Oh, also Starfall Tigress blames the refs for losing to Veruca Salt for fast counts. She wants that looked into. Riley Reynolds tells the fans that boo her to sit on the flagpole. There you had it. And she warns Veruca Salt she's coming for her at the pay-per-view. She's going to win the championship and be a champion people can really like. Better Than You lets everyone know of her success and has made it clear that she can back up her talk with big wins. And she's shattering the pace we expected. She says she's inevitable. And I will say this. When we were kind of figuring out the prize structure for some of the events, we were like, oh, let's set this for the points total. Like, no one's going to hit that for, like, probably 8-9 months. Whoops. So that's probably going to change. But that's okay. We'll make it work. Yeah. Rain Grady with a blunt promo about how she... Oh, I talked about this already, so she's going to cover that. Beulah Booger likes teaming with Zuckaroo. Tries to ambush a fan, a guy she saw in the audience, after she ordered a big plate of barbecue wings, gets all covered in barbecue sauce, tries to make out with him. It does not go over well. He bars. Poor guy. Zoe Pecadora wants Huntress, but disrespects her so much that instead of giving her any attention, she's going to go to the movies instead.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Zuckaroo Zebop takes a bite out of Ava Von Snap's lunch, talks about how good Buyul is doing, and then she sneaks into Ava's locker room, but what for? Tiamat is so eager to get Rain Grady in the ring, she's going to allow her to pick up a match. So it might not be a Beaver County match, street fight. It could be something else, but we'll see what happens. Aria Gunpowder is ready to take down Rachel Van Dorn, but will she? It talks about her, being considered by some to be too much a good guy or goody, and she's not going to be that way at the pay-per-view. Let's see. Veruca Salt talks a lot about the challenges and victories. Talks about her, being proud of Gina Colada giving her a good match, even if she lost. She does order Betty Red and Catfish Rob to stop their sneak attacks immediately, or else. And we all love, or else. Penny Punk has had enough of Gina Colada, doesn't think she's earned her success. She doesn't respect the loser battle stipulation, and will use this match to embarrass Gina in order to get closer to an IWAR women's title shot. Hunter's plans on destroying Zoe Picadora, hasn't forgot Aria Gunpowder, and looks forward to beating Tiamat in their Perfect 10 series. And finally, Rachel Van Dorn threatened Shiloh Wallace with using her enhancements against her. Take that as you will. Tell Starfall Tigress to watch her mouth and consider herself lucky they're not meeting the pay-per-view. So that's a beef that's going to be settled at another time. But thank you to all who made promos and sent them in. We appreciate that. It really is making the league a lot more fun. So if you want to join this league, remember it's one woman wrestler per player. So join in. We lost a player, but we've stayed pretty steady at 27.
Lupus? Was it Lupus?
What?
Was it Lupus?
Lupus? No.
Oh.
You
sure?
Before I forget, I'm going to try Mountain Dew High Voltage.
Oh.
Charged with raspberry citrus flavor and ginseng. Oh, boy.
Good for you. I just had the Coca-Cola Marshmallow Limited Edition. It's really good. It is a watermelon strawberry flavored. Good.
This isn't good at all. Oh.
You should just probably stick with the Code Red, buddy.
I don't like Code Red. I like cherry. Tastes like NyQuil.
You should get the Game Fuel though. Cherry Blast.
Yeah, it's not Game Fuel anywhere, so.
Order it from Amazon like I do. Be a man.
They buy one bottle?
No, you can buy 12-pack for $24.
I don't want to do that.
You can go on the Amazon link and purchase it.
So I could actually. I'm actually using some of my birthday money to buy some Amazon stuff.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I was gonna buy a new baseball glove or batting gloves. I should do that through the Amazon link.
Be a good idea.
You sure should.
Make sure you're buying the complete works of what's his name?
Rodney Dangerfield?
No.
Oh, Chuck something, right? Tingle?
Chuck Tingle. Get the complete works of Chuck Tingle on there.
Right.
Oh.
I already got a bidet recently, so I'm not going to need a new one of those anytime soon.
Good for you. Good for you.
Or will I?
Oh.
Oh, the meat train. All right.
You ever poop in the shower?
No.
Do I?
I don't piss in the shower either. Is that
really?
No.
Liar.
No, I never. That's like that. Someone made a comment saying, "Have you pooped in your hand and then put in the toilet?" I'm like, why? Just use the toilet.
I've been known to wash my junk in the motel bathroom sink before.
Just your junk?
Just my junk.
Like debris that was left over by the previous tenant, or?
No, historically, because when I go to these motels, they usually have hourly rates. So,
right.
Yeah.
So you're playing some video games quick, and then.
Yeah. So yet again, as a personal reminder, if you use the Amazon link, make sure you get the complete works of Chuck Tingle. You get such notable books as "Pounded in the Butt" by my own butt, and these are all actually real books.
Did you check the Amazon purchases, by the way, to see what was ordered recently?
Did anyone buy a Love Glove?
No, but something else that you actually know about was purchased.
Oh, let's just take a look.
Through Amazon. You can actually show the fans.
So yeah, use the damn link, please.
I did use a link.
I'm saying, for everybody else.
Oh,
Can't be just you, Matt.
I know. Somebody else did something bought them. Like I didn't buy that, so I don't know who did that.
Let's see. I'm pulling it up right now. Factory for Me XL. Ah, yes. There you go. Get that shirt.
Mm-hmm.
You get a windscreen for your microphone. And
Yes.
Death of WCW. That was a personal recommendation by a good old Jeff, right?
Yep, that's right.
In addition to that, you should buy Death of the Territories by Tim Hornbaker. That's a really good book as well. You get the audio book on Audible, like I did. And then you should get Nitro, which is a really good book as well. Don't buy the Lex Luger book, though.
I was wondering about the Vader book. Have you read that?
No.
Wonder how that is.
Does it just ask you what time it is and open up as Vader time?
The end.
Like, I like Artie Reynolds as an author. I'm not necessarily a big fan of Brian Alvarez. Just because I don't like Brian Alvarez. Me and him have a history.
You have a history with Brian Alvarez.
Yeah.
Did you bang his wife?
The guy that pushed your
No.
wife?
First of all, I'm pretty sure he's not married, number one. Although he might be, I don't know. No, I'm talking about back in the day.
Are you the reason he's not married?
Possibly.
Are you guys gonna watch the ROH show from this weekend?
I'm watching the clips as we speak on Twitter. It looks fucking fantastic.
I know. I'm gonna try to watch.
I'm gonna order it to see it because it looks really good.
Yeah, the production looks good.
Oh, it looks fucking slick as fuck.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. I dig that. Next up, IWL. So, Alex G, what's going down in the IWL? Well, this was our pay-per-view cycle. So, the pay-per-view matches did run. I announced the results on the last show, so I'm not going to go through that again. If you have match write-ups, get them to me sooner rather than later. I feel like I say that every single time, and every single time I get matches at midnight on Sunday. So if you get them early to me, that'd be great. Help me out.
If it's this Sunday, it's not so bad, but if it's next Sunday, that's a pain in the ass.
In addition to that, I made some mock wrestling magazine covers. They look pretty cool. The first one was Wrestling Illustrated, which is the precursor to Pro Wrestling Illustrated. And I kept on the bottom where it says full fold-out color Antonio Rocca pinup because I thought that was hilarious. In addition to that, we have Wrestling World. Again, I just took the format and worked on it and created a new one. And The Wrestler, the original The Wrestler. So check those out. Those are cool. Up first, we have Revolution Extremes TT. So we have a Johnny Revolution Demands Answers. Luther Alexander claims that the Lone Star Redneck was paid by Neo Dragon to attack him, to throw him off his game for Wrestle Riot. Johnny Revolution has a conversation with Todd Bridges from Different Strokes. He was wondering which boys are back in town. If those boys with that guy, it could be problems ahead. In addition, get your Johnny Bucks today. Johnny Revolution selling cryptocurrency now. We have Ricky Spanish. Once again, he's talking about good old Ulysses Deadeye and good old Atticus. A little rap for them as well underneath that. We have a picture of Luther and Neo Dragon. It's Wrestle Riot, the final chapter. We have the Graces out in front of Orange Julius. We were talking a lot about the Orange Julius on the last TT Tubecast, so I felt the need to include that. We have a nice picture of the Juice. The Juice is loose. That's cool. And then we have another ad from Orange Julius. Apparently, Luther is going to retire and run his own set of Orange Juliuses, at least according to Weekly World News. And Weekly World News also wonders if Abe is more honest than brutal. We're not sure. We have Racer McKay. He's talking all that general about Hunter Callahan. So, thank you for that. We have Aleatari talking about Rex Chambers and then not really talking about anybody else other than the normal people he talks crap about. It would be Magnum TL, Regulators, Bill Bonecutter, Joe Borneo, Dragon, or Luther. No one cares about Aleatari. He's no longer important. Speaking of important, we do have the IWR World Heavyweight Champion Barry taking these Stevens. Talking about good old Rod Camino. It's interesting about Rod Camino. He literally walks into the league and gets a title shot. But again, some palms were greased, and maybe some other areas of the body were greased to make that happen. It is Rod Camino, by the way. Von Snob's talking about the Regulators, as they always do. This rivalry looks like it's going to go on forever. Although the Von Snobs might move on to Free Quebec in the future. The total package U.S. male. Talking about X3M and Rosanna. No one cares because it's U.S. male. Paige Turner. I don't know what he's doing. I just don't know what he's doing right now. What is Paige Turner doing? Why is he here?
He's the IWAR World Champion.
No one cares.
He's talking to his leagues.
He's not going to defend the belt in the IWL anyway. He's afraid to come here.
One of you guys didn't win the shot for it.
Never. It's all rigged. It's all rigged anyway. Ridiculous. We have newcomers, Death Leprechaun with Gene the Machine Conrad. Looks like he's going after. This is a 6-man team, by the way, guys. So it looks like he's going after Free Quebec and the Von Snops. I like the Avatar. Avatar is really cool. Nice job on that, by the way. We got Hot Tub Hot Takes with good old Rod Camino. Looking very sweaty as he always does.
I think that's Grease.
You think it's Grease? He's not KY jelly, you think?
Probably a bit of both.
That's fair. Fair. No, we are. Historically, I feel that we all should be lubricated. As a general rule in life, just be hydrated, be lubricated. You're all good.
I have a friend who I used to work with who had an idea for a book about working in retail.
Yeah. And
the title was going to be called Unlubed: My Life in Retail. And I was like, that's very good time. He never did it, but I was like, oh, that's a good idea.
As a 20-year retail veteran myself, I always do you know, all right. So do you know how, if anyone ever goes on LinkedIn a lot, I go on LinkedIn quite a bit, probably too much for my own good. And LinkedIn is the fakest place on the planet. It's actually disgusting how fake it is and how it's slightly condescending. It's really fake. It's a front. It's nothing real on there, right? No one says anything real. It's all bullshit, right? That being said, we have these people now. They're supposed to be smart. They're like LinkedIn influencers, I guess you would call them. I guess is the thing now.
What do you mean?
Oh no!
What do you mean these people?
Those people, especially.
What do you mean you people?
So, we have these people that are just sending the wrong message about how to handle these particular situations, and it's just battle around, and people really kind of take heed in terms of, they're supposed to be leadership qualities that I don't necessarily agree with because they don't work in the real world. If you work in a bubble, anyone that's had advantage, a 17-year-old girl or guy, is a lot different than quote unquote professional people. So those lessons don't necessarily apply, and even some of your quote unquote professional people are not necessarily all that professional to begin with. So, how do you get someone to work who doesn't really even give a fuck? Well, some of these people will not piss on you if you're on fire. And how do you deal with that? So, one day I want to write that book. That can help me.
Sounds kind of like this Tubecast.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So, talking about piss, Barry Stevens. So, Rod Camino claims that Barry take a P. Stevens, which is hilarious. Will be exposed for the jabroni that he is. We will see at the pay-per-view. And then we have the industry, again, doing big things. Would it be Dave the Decision? He claims that those rumors in the Inquirer aren't true. If he finds out who wrote those, I'll knock them upside the head. I bet it was Japroni, the chameleon. The chameleon has not answered Dave's challenge yet, so I don't know what he's waiting for. Goddamn Stevie Vertigo. I don't even know why he's here. I don't know why he's messing around with O.J. Simpson. He's trying to get stabbed, I think. So, we'll see. I think Luther might have to pay him a visit since he is legalist now. Luther was going to go down to the TDL, and then he realized it was closed. And then he wanted to go to the ASL. He also realized that league was closed. So there's that.
He should reopen them.
I'm thinking about reopening the Casting Caps League. I think that's Luther's new league. There has to be a story there, guys. I need to understand.
I want to hear that story.
Johnny B, tell me about the casting. Who is the commissioner? I want to interview them on their show. I need to know what this is. We have Eunuch Mateo. Good old Matty Y seems to be in the house. She's talking about Latin porno and Tammy Lynn Cinch. And his love for Ariana Grande is unmatched, which I agree. I do love some Ariana Grande myself. Not a big fan of the Kardashians, though. But me and Ariana, we go way back. We have Hunter Callahan, who, again, he's cruising for a bruising. He keeps on calling it Racer McKay, Racer McNips. And I think it's gonna hurt him. It's gonna hurt him. You don't insult a man like that. He takes it too far, I think.
Too far.
Yeah. Who's next? Let's keep on. We got the Killers. Apparently somebody made a list here. That's cool. Uh-oh. Ricardo Espanol. Let's talk about this for a minute. I don't think it's in anyone's best interest to make this man angry. Good old Ricky Spanish has spent the last good portion of the last 20 years incarcerated in prisons around the world. This most recently Guantanamo Bay. He was branded a terrorist. It's ridiculous. The good old Patriot Act got him on that one. So, fresh out of prison on the behest of good old Luther Alexander, and currently he's in a three-way feud with Lucis Deadeye and Atticus Black, and they're going to did have this parking lot brawl, and I wonder who won that match. So, I think good old Ricky Spanish is going to have a lot to say. I think I mentioned this before. I think this particular feud between the three of them is something that's going to elevate everybody involved here to the next level. So, will it be Deadeye or Black? I think this is a big major feud for Black, and for Deadeye, this is their first big feud in the IWL. I think everyone off of this got elevated to the next level. So, super cool. We have good old Damian Killswitch talking about good old Cutter Carver. I wonder what good old Cutter Carver is. He's good old Cutter. AWL, BBL, CAW. Now in the IWL. So, some really cool stuff. We have Neo Dragon. What can I say about Neo Dragon that hasn't already been said about smelly garbage? I don't understand. He got his win over Luther.
You're a bum.
But now the question is what the hell is he going to do now?
That's a hard one to follow up.
I don't know. He might as well just retire.
Maybe he will.
What's he going to do? Go after U.S. Mail or something? Come on.
Oh, that's not happening.
No. You beat the greatest wrestler of all time. What is there left to prove?
Former Wrestler of the Year.
I think he's setting up to bring in his new tag team partner, the Backstabber.
Picture Vince screaming that says, "The backstabber."
He's gonna puke.
You know, it'd be great too. I just picture like this is the modern WWE. Backstabber comes out, and they have that gigantic three-dimensional image that floats above the arena with a guy getting stabbed in the back. Oh.
I wonder what Jonathan Coachman is doing right now. Is he still on ESPN?
5 to 10, right? He got convicted.
Oh, that makes sense. You can't touch underage girls. I mean, come on, guys, get together.
There it is.
Yeah. Speaking of underage girls, we got Sheepdog Road Grady going after U.S. Mail here, which could be the feud of the year. What do you think? Yeah? No? Maybe?
Yeah, you never know.
Could be. Fucking U.S. Mail. Worst. He's the worst wrestler ever.
He's the total package.
Why is he not tag team partner with Lex FedEx?
Maybe it's going to happen. You don't know. All I will say in the next cycle, the cycles to come, there will be some changes.
I'll tell you this right now. Road Grady is probably going to be IWR World Champion, like, real soon.
Commissioner's been bought off, folks. You heard it here first.
First of all, I'm not you. Okay. Okay. Let's be clear on this. I stay relatively objective.
Just because I will go with a better option for things is not a bad situation. Just saying.
Just because historically we give away our title opportunities or matches.
I'll say this: if things happen, and of course they do, we have to do what makes most sense. What's best for business.
Of course.
And sometimes that.
And it's always all kidding aside, and we like to joke on this a lot, but as a commissioner, commissioners are usually really good players, right? So how do you balance that you're someone that is always going to be in main events or big matches because you're good versus, hey, I want to balance it out for everybody else. And I had a hard time with that myself because I don't want the IWL to be the Revolution Extreme League because we're so big, you know what I mean? But that's the thing about Luther. Like, wherever Luther just go, he's automatically shot to the top. He proved that in, would it be the ASL? But now defunct ASL, BRL, CWL. He's always he makes a lot of noise. He's a noisy guy. You know what I mean? So, and he gets a lot of attention. So how do you balance that from a commissioner point of view? Make sure that everyone gets the appropriate amount of attention. It's a tightrope that you're walking here because I don't want to punish myself because I'm the commissioner. Number one, and number two, I want to make sure that I'm not overexposing myself. So it's hard sometimes. Matt, you go through the same thing. And it's tough. Almost like when I was commissioner of the NWO, it was easy because Luther was the commissioner, so he could do his shenanigans, but it's always about everybody else. Once we figured out we didn't need to have a wrestler in that league, there used to be a rule that if you commission the league, you have to have a wrestler in there.
Yeah, it's still kind of a rule because if you don't get a balloon.
Right. How officially, unofficially, whatever. I pulled whatever guys. Black Belt Jones was the guy I had in there.
It's been revealed.
Well, he became Soul Train Jones. I think that's pretty well known at this point. But once we didn't have to have anyone in there, I didn't have anyone in there, and it made it a lot easier to be a commissioner of a league where I had there's no stakes for me. So it was like I'm just going to commission it, and not worry about the chips fall with them. I'm not involved. So it's always a tightrope act. And to be honest, I'm kind of happy that Luther lost his match to Neo Dragon, so I can do other things with him or kind of get him out of the picture IWL wise to let some other guys rise up. Not that I tanked the strategy. I only lost by 1 point. Luke barely beat me, but he always just barely beats me, which is annoying. It's not like Matt beats me by a ton all the time. Which is
you never change your strategy.
No, we don't even do it, right? For the last 4 cycles, I changed one hold. Wait, I got like a 495 and I think a 490 something. This cycle.
Really bad.
Well, think about all right. Think about strategies as a concept, right? For the most part, your strategy is not going to change the actual holds, right? Especially if you scored high. So if you scored a 499, what the fuck are you changing?
Mm.
You know, if you don't have a 25, you're going to add the 25 back in, right? If you do have a 20, if you have 125, you're going to add the second 25 back in. So what do you're not changing? You don't necessarily. You're not picking a whole brand new 15 holds. There's going to be a certain number of holds that are going to stay, right? Because you're not wholesale changing everything. Because then you end up with like a 469 if you did that. So if you have 25s, you're going to keep them. If you don't, you're going to add them. And then whatever your drop is going to be, would it be 26, 27, 29, 26, or whatever it's going to be? You're going to pull those holds out. So that's now I'm not talking about perfect opponent fill because that's a whole different scenario. But just in terms of picking raw holds, you're not changing all but 2 or 3 holds in that anyway, as a concept. So I'm not going to sit there and waste time for me because I have 1,000 other things to do to sit there and redo a whole strategy wholesale. Because I find picking holds that's the worst part of the game for me. Could I do better? Yeah, but I could do better if I
Watch
played.
the IWAR strategy workshop.
I would do better if I had 50 matches. Then I would challenge for all the titles. I probably would win more. But I don't because I spend my $6. That's it.
Your 10 free matches.
Yeah, whatever. That being said, it worked for me this cycle. I actually had pretty good strategies across the board by just changing a 1 hold. I think I just added back in the 25 that I didn't have. That's
always have 25.
Well, you always put 25 in. So if your last second you got 25, there's no reason you don't pull it out. You leave it in there because the 25 is always going to go up as a general rule. And your 30s are not going. Your 30s never shoot down to 25, right?
Yes.
So if your 30s never going to shoot down to 25s, you keep that's 4 holds right there. Your 25s and your 30s are in there.
Yeah. You could use you could go even further and say, I'm always going to use 30s, 25s, and 29s. You want to just be like, I'm going to, pick a random 26 or 27 to drop.
And that's 6 holds out of 15 right there. So 29 has never dropped to 25?
Oh, it has, but just comparatively, I think
it's a safer bet. Safer bet. Yeah.
Yeah, and that being said, in gold, 29s have dropped the last 2 cycles.
Right.
So I do not think it's going to drop a third time.
Right.
Mike can speak to that better than I could, but I believe he said it's never happened.
Right.
So.
Oh, Scott, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate that. Hey, that's my dog right there. I have a Shiba Inu. So if Alex ever gets a 501, we riot. I've never gotten a 501. I've only gotten a 500 once. And I think I won Gold Fed, too. Gold,
Yes.
Metropolitan, and Elite. No, not Elite. Was it Elite?
No, you won Metro and Gold Fed.
Okay.
MF.
MF, motherfucker. Back to this TT. We have the Demolition Crew. Again, they're currently the Unified World Tag Team Champions. They won their match at the pay-per-view. And they're moving on to the Graces. So there's the next opponent. So good luck with that, guys. Ravishing Rex Chambers, the new Pan Am champion. Again, he defeated X3M. So, good on him. Very excited. I think he's someone that has world championship potential right off the bat. Good TT, too. His TT is always very solid. I'm always very impressed with this TT. It's good stuff, man. And I think I mentioned this a lot. It's worth mentioning some more. If you're a rookie, go check out some of these other leagues. Check out the IWL, check out BRL, or find other leagues that have consistently good trash talk in it, and read those. They'll definitely help you out, for sure. So just keep that in mind. That's what I did. That's why I stole Ghostly Shadows TT for like 6 months, like a half a year. He was my first big inspiration in the game in terms of TT. Oh, Darren wants to know why Matt doesn't share with me, just Scott. That's because Scott pays him money. That's why.
Right.
Because, they don't have any ethics. And apparently I do. Not according to the U.S. government, that's for sure.
Yes.
So, I find it interesting, the Demolition Crew here. I like the fact that they put the career profile. I tried doing that one time with Luther, and it was going to be 2 pages long, and so I stopped. Oh yeah, because one page were actually real championships of ones, and then the second page was just all made up shit that I won, like the International Hopscotch Championship. But their career profile for Demolition Crew was like 39 in league IWA multi-man titles, total of 36 in league single titles. They won the IWA World Tag Team Champions, U.S. Tag World 6-man, U.S. 6-man. They won the IWA and FWA titles. MRF World Tag, IWU, they just won that. FSL World Tag, ASL Icon Tag, DCW World Tag, MRF National Tag twice, CSW Canadian Pride Tag Team Championships. So, a hell of a resume for these guys, and they're going to add IWA Unified to that. With the Chameleon here, finally answering Dave Ozlowski's challenge, looking to make a name for himself. I don't know. Chameleon is a tough go. I've had my runs with the Chameleon before. Again, if you're looking to lose, challenge the Chameleon. That's what I always say. We have the American Patriot and Christian Warrior. Talking young about the gun collections in second gen. What was that?
That was me cracking my back.
Oh, that sounded gross.
Yeah, it felt gross.
Oh. So, a Mega Squadron in full effect. We have the Graces. They lament the fact that the Ron Snaps are too busy with the regulators. Apparently, they're trying to do a DNA test on Victor Von Schnapp, which should be impossible. Von Schnapps remind me of the Dudley Boys. Just their stories are rather similar.
Is it really?
Yeah, because that's the whole story. Is that I guess Big Daddy Dudley or whatever impregnated all these different. That's why there's like Dances with Dudley, and that's why Devon's black and Big Dick Dudley, and there's all like these stories about like these chicks that Daddy Dudley hooked up with, and that's why the Dudley clan brood are all different.
Well, I can tell you a behind-the-scenes thing of Victor Von Schnapp when we first made Von Schnapp's back when I was like
12.
15. It was like 15. It was 88, so whatever that was, 14 maybe. Anyways, we all made different Von Schnapps. My friends, my cousin, a bunch of whatever, right? And Victor was based around an idea I had for a TV show called "Who Wants to Have My Kid." The idea is you have a woman in every state, and you try to have a baby with her, and if some woman has twins or triplets, she wins $1 million bonus.
Yeah.
And that was the idea. And I thought, what if these kids all grew up and be wrestlers? And it'd be like, and then there was a game called Top Secret we played, and there was this insane world dominating type guy trying to take over the world, a la G.I. Joe, and he was called Bloodbath. And his thing was he had sons from all over the world with different women, so you could never tell which son was his or which, like whatever, right? So, Victor Von Schnapp, kind of an evil genius.
No one cares. Next up, we have second gen. Big Ben Jr. being my favorite new wrestler. I guess newish wrestler. I find that. I love Big Ben. In fact, the fact that Big Ben Jr. is a little person makes it even more hilarious. And we should really do more with those wrestlers, by the way. The scrubs, the scrub wins you get in the beginning. Wildfire Johnny Rage being my personal favorite, by the way. Although it may be time to update some of those guys too. By the way, like I don't know. I figured one day, as a tribute for me personally, the day I retire Luther, I would put Luther in the mix for that as a tribute to my contributions to the game. What do you think?
A jobber.
Yeah.
I thought of that before. Like, the BRL wise, some of the names in there: Sexy Stan James, Noble Sheik, Lord Henry Carlisle, Steve Corey, were all like wrestlers, either guys I played against in the CCL, not the Casting Couch League, back in '87, '88. So I think it's a nice thing to do. Is like kind of make it like an honor, like, or you can do it. Some guys say, "Oh, it'd be disrespectful." I'm like,
no,
dude, out of the game, no one cares.
Oh, it'd be great.
And there's a good chance. I mean, the only thing that's going to wear you is if Darren takes over your wrestler.
Well, yeah, that happens.
Oh.
But I think that'd be kind of cool. My jobbers and the IWL all wrestlers that I created back in the day. I didn't play IWA as a youth, but I did make my own IWA. Coincidentally, I guess. Well, before that, here's the concept. This is like, again, I'm like 8, and it started from when I was playing with my action figures, and I would have wrestling matches with my action figures, but then I would write down the fucking results.
Oh, I did that.
And I kept track. But that evolved into like, I'm just going to create my own wrestlers and just imagine like the pay-per-views and like everyone was kind of based on somebody, but not really. Like some of them were based on superheroes. It was crazy. But like I had a wrestler, the Dark Warrior, which is an evil and ultimate warrior, and I had a guy, and I would take names from like Street Fighter, and kind of change a little bit and add them to the mix. And
are any of those names you use in the game now?
Yes, for jobbers anyway.
Yeah. I mean, but besides that, like any you'd actually use not like a jobber, but a real.
No, in game no. My main wrestler was whose name was Nemesis. That was the name of the wrestler.
Nemesis Enforcer.
Which is based on Nemesis Enforcer from G.I. Joe. That's correct. And I think Star Trek Nemesis came out, or I had heard the name. I thought it was cool, but in my head, that wrestler is what Luther Alexander is now.
Okay.
Just he was a babyface the entire time. But that was always the inspiration for what Luther was. Like he wore the Rocky trunks and the whole nine. So that was my guy. But the jobber names in there are all wrestlers that I thought up as a kid for this imagine. And I was like, it was the WWA. That was the name of it, World Wrestling Association. It's the best I can come up with as a 10-year-old.
No, I will tell you, Barry Stevens, Steve Chambers, a bunch of names came from my friend, not Scott, in California, but my friend Scott White, who his parents gave him. He had every single is it LJN? Every one of those figures, everyone, and the rings. Like, it was crazy.
You're too old for Hasbro, so it had to be LJN.
Yeah.
Unless you had AWA figures.
I don't think he did. I just remember like every WWF superstar he had.
Can we be honest about LJNs? They fucking suck.
Yes. They were not.
They're pieces of shit, and they're dolls, and they're big, and they're made out of fucking rubber, and the paint fucking wore the fuck off, and then the dog ate them, and it was over. Like, there's no play value. There's no articulation in them. Those figures sucked.
I have one figure left, the Beefcake.
Like, the likenesses are great, and then, like, if you get a fresh set, like,
they were fun. I mean, they were fun to have, like, but I mean, they weren't like.
They're expensive for no reason.
The other thing too is that when you played with them on the old WWF like plastic ring, they would break like the mat of the ring.
Yeah.
Really, I didn't know that.
Like all cracked after a while.
Yeah, so it's like those figures were trash, I guess the rumor has it. The reason why they're so big because Vince saw the prototypes. Like, oh, look how big they are. They'll probably almost be like 5-inch scale.
Yeah.
Like every other figure. That's why they're so huge for no reason. But yeah, those figures suck. But if you have a mint collection, they look great on display because they're fantastic looking figures. As a collector, not that I don't collect that wrestling figures.
But yeah, as a toy, they're kind of clunky.
Yeah, for sure. But the only one I ever wanted, bad, I never got it, was the white and red Hogan figure.
White and red.
Yeah, it's a white and red one. He has a white Hulkamania shirt and he has red trunks.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were going to say Big John Stud for a moment.
No, I figured it was awful.
Big John Stud.
Like the Jesse Ventura has he's doing the pose, but his arm's going the other way. Like it's so stupid.
Yeah.
But that Hogan one is the one that I wanted. I never got him. That's the one I always wanted. That and the Warrior one, but the Hogan one for sure. So it's the white shirt, red trunks. Because I always liked when Hogan wore alternate gear. By the way, probably has to do with the fact that the first time I ever saw him wrestle live, he was wearing blue knee pads.
Okay.
It was weird. He was fighting Hercules Hernandez in 1987.
And famously, Hercules Hernandez hated blue, so.
He did. It's a true story. There's two variants of that figure, too. There's one that's the yellow, the regular yellow. I think it might be yellow and red or red and yellow. And the white one's the one I always wanted. That one was really cool. But I collect Masters of the Universe and Star Wars and Marvel Legends, but the 3 and 3.75 inch scale. Speaking of 3-inch scale, Big Ben Jr.
Heyo.
I'm here all night. Wait, folks.
Well, second gen looks like they're going after obviously the Demolition Crew or the Gun Connection, Amazing Grace, and the Three Birds. Three Birds have been remarkably quiet. They probably should try TTing. It'd probably be in their best interest. We have Free Quebec, and again, they got Death Leprechaun. They're going after Von Snaps again. We do have our 6-man teams, which they're all going. They're all heading towards each other. Now we have the former Pan Am champion X3M. We're going to talk about the her being a loser of some sort. I appreciate the fact that she has a huge IWL flag. I dig that. Good old Crusher Vicious with Queen Angela, right? Angela, yeah. Probably should find someone to feud with, though, like an actual person.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, well, they're starting out, so we got Bad Street Marcus Brown, but it might be time to find an appointment for them. World Events of History with Enric Felmonte, John Wilkes, and honestly Brutal Abe. One of those, I forget who did I say was getting. He's going to be. Was it Abe or John Wilkes?
Abe.
It was Abe that's going to be in the world title eliminator match. Cool. Big Bad Bob Harris has an interview with Misty Hyatt. His fans are called the Bob Backers, which is interesting. What the fuck is the Eraser? What's he doing? Does someone tell? Border jumper Ricky Spanish? Ricky Spanish is Puerto Rican. There's no border for him to jump. Unbelievable. Fucking Eraser. What is the histrionics of the Eraser? Can someone tell me the histrionics on the Eraser?
I could, but I won't.
Why not?
The Eraser appeared right after someone else disappeared.
Well, yeah, I know that. But what's his end game though?
Well, I don't know. maybe he's hoping to meet up with Johnny Sins.
Hey, listen, the man's been an astronaut, a doctor, a police officer. I mean, the man is a jack of all trades.
There you go.
I mean, Scott, he says his mom's a whore. Apparently, according to Scott. There you go. That's all we need to know.
My God.
Scott mentioned they need to do a Mr. Wrestling 2 figure. They might be in that line. There's this new wrestling figure line that has classic wrestlers in it. Kind of done in the scale of like Master Universe, so they're going to be 5.5. So I saw like Kerry Von Erich, Vern Gagne. You get your official Vern Gagne action figure. I was waiting on that for a long time.
I was looking at those. Was Ted DiBiase and Stan Hansen a tag team at one point?
Yes, in All Japan Pro Wrestling.
They have the same gear in that collection, it looks like.
Yeah. So they were the top tag team in All Japan.
And all those figures come with belts, it looks like, too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Again, if I collected wrestling figures, I would have nothing but. The only wrestling figure line I really liked was WWE Classics. I thought those were really well done. But yeah, I couldn't do that to myself. I was like, I don't have that much money, guys. Come on. Thanks for the super chat, Matt, for $5. Hey. Anyone else? Say hi to Adam. Adam, it looks like you new here? Is he in the NWL?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's, yeah. He's in the NWL.
Oh, well, welcome. Who's he manage?
Honor Revolt, actually.
Oh, okay.
One of the more successful managers of the last year or so.
I dig that, for sure. Who's this? The goddamn Lone Star Redneck? Unbelievable. Why is everyone talking about U.S. mail for?
He looks like he's swearing a lot. I think Commissioner Don King might have to have a word with him.
Yeah. Ridiculous. So, tell me a little about Lone Star Redneck. I know he's out of the NWL. What's his deal?
Well, he's basically stomping mud holes in people and like giving the finger and drinking beer a lot. So
sounds familiar.
That son of a bitch attacked Luther and cost him his career. So it's gonna be hell to pay for him.
Yeah, I think he's a bit of a bad egg personally.
Bad egg.
I mean, you just don't go after Revolution Extreme with the regulators and don't think there's not going to be a consequence for that. So.
He's going to have some comeuppance for that.
For sure. Next up is the Michigan Border Patrol. So these guys are pretty new. I am personally a big fan of Firebreaker Chip, who is actually U.S. mail in real life, by the way. For those of you who don't know, Firebreaker Chip was also the original U.S. mail.
Yeah.
He did have a postal gimmick. Do you know who else was supposed to be a U.S. mail?
No.
Pistol Pez Watley.
Really?
Yeah, so he's supposed to do, like, they were supposed to do WCW Special Forces. So there was supposed to be a bunch of gimmicks just like Firebreaker Chip and Chris Champion. Or no, Todd Champion. And they're going to have different gimmicks. And the next guy was supposed to be Pez Watley as the mailman. And I really wish they did it, but they did not. Makes me sad. The goddamn California Gunslinger. So he is by the way, he is the new, that's right, the new Grand Prix champion. So congratulations there.
So he's leaving the league soon?
Is he?
Oh.
He's not gonna be like the backstabber and Dixon Ticonderoga and vacate that. This is why I'll tell you straight up. All my titles are all like, and all my events got completely fucked up this year. No, it's not everyone's fault. These things happen.
I think it's your fault, Alex.
Is it? Probably my fault. So usually, like, all right. So I have all these events. So I have all the tournaments, basically for the titles. So Wrestle Riot, Soul Survivor, the Elite Eight, Young Lions Cup, MSG Tag League. Again, I have a bunch of these tournaments that usually determine who the challengers are for these belts, but I had to use these tournaments and some of these events to come up with number one contenders and all kinds of other stuff to kind of fill these vacancies. And now I don't have any more tournaments left, so I don't have to make some shit up. That's why I had to do the world title eliminator match, and it's been rough. It's been a rough, year so far in terms of holding on to my champions. But we'll make it through it. Got a lot of new fresh blood in the league, so I'm excited about where we're moving forward. So
you have the rock steady Barry Stevens to count on.
The one guy I want to fucking retire, and he fucking holds the belt. Unbelievable. Yeah. He might have to face Ricky Spanish, and what's he gonna do?
Barry has some strong words for his potential challengers.
Unbelievable.
Already done.
So Gunslinger has this mask, right? This mask deal that's going on right now. Naked, with the injury of some sort.
Yeah, I think he suffered that in the NWL, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Someone threw a fireball in his face.
So that's why, when I kind of made an avatar for him, I found this cowboy that was in the Purge movie, and I've been using that.
Yeah, and I think towards the end of his time in the NWL, he kind of started taking on a darker kind of tone to his PTs, which I've kind of been enjoying.
Yeah. So, are there lots of gunslingers in California that are not involved in drive-bys? I was being curious. Yeah. But that's the NWL and the Jump Show. So, by the way, guys, fantastic job with the TT as always. The bulletin was 82 pages long, which is insane. So, keep up the great work, for sure. And get those pay-per-view matches to me sooner rather than later. And guys, if you have anything you want me to mention on the show moving forward, feel free to DM me on Facebook. If you're not in the IWAR Network Facebook group, probably should join up. We don't post there as much as we used to, but that's okay. But you can still find me, still get in contact. Do not friend request me, by the way. Don't do that. I don't accept those anymore. I don't think I've accepted a friend request in 2 years. I have all the friends I need. But you can DM me all you want.
That's right.
Well, that's fantastic. I dig that. Unless Johnny B wants to friend request me, and I'll accept his friend request on Facebook. Or LinkedIn, by the way.
Nice.
All right. Next up, BRL. So, Matt, what's going down in BRL?
Well, that's going down. We are rolling towards the early autumn anarchy pay-per-view, so we're getting ready for that. And coming out of a Magic Bash here, we have a lot of events going on. So starting off, remember that Jax McAllister has been going off the rails, out of control, sneak attacking elderly people, and he's part of the Suburban Hill Savages. So last cycle, Punk Rock Mike came out and said, "Hey, look. We know you're quite, wild and crazy, but if you just come out and apologize for what you did, and we'll smooth it over, it'll be fine." And so after the Match Bash pay-per-view, the Suburban Hill Savages were celebrating, as one wants to do when he retained the global title again. And as they were celebrating, lights went off, and there was anarchy, mayhem, sounds, crashing, banging. When the lights came back on, the Suburban Hill Savages were laid out, and Jax McAllister was sporting a steel chair that was quite broken. So Jax McAllister's turned on his teammates. He's no longer part of the SHS, and is now setting his sights on Ghostly Shadows. We'll see what happens there.
Good for him. Good for him.
Hey, I always say one of my favorite things is when the guy comes out and says, like, "If you come out and apologize to me, we'll be cool." Well, that's setting up bad news.
Like when someone had to accept a trophy or something.
Oh, that's always.
Or there's a birthday cake involved.
A birthday cake, or you've won Man of the Year in Mexico or Japan, whichever one it was on Lawler there, where they were like, You're the man of the year.
Or that one time that Stevie Vertigo became Ebony Man of the Year.
Well deserved title.
Sure.
He's
a pillar of the black community. Did you know that?
Quick aside, speaking of Stevie Vertigo, I've been doing redesign because I have a WWE 2K22 now, and the good news is, while that allows me to design more wrestlers with a little more creativity, the bad news is all the ones they already created in 2K19 are no longer viable. So.
Yeah, Matt, why do you think I stopped doing that?
Yeah. So that's in the works. Getting back to things. So Monster Truck Tanaka spends some time to talk about the many years of history between himself and Pain and Destruction, which is Greg Garner, RX Pain, and Colonel Doom.
I don't know who those people are.
Yeah, he offered up some respect for Johnny Carnage, and but they have a beef to settle, and it's going to be settled soon. The Von Schnapps want a final showdown between themselves and the White Claw Outlaws. Adam Cash has challenged Double R Rob Ratliff to a guitar on a pole match. And if you know Double R, he's been swinging guitars at people left and right, really in conjunction with Flash Jack Bird.
Literally his entire life.
Yeah.
Like 7 years old, hitting people out with guitars.
That's right. Little kitty guitars.
Yeah.
LePage Turner talking.
You ever watch El Kabong?
Who?
El Kabong.
What is Al Capone?
You ever watch that cartoon?
Oh.
Racism.
I think kids. Why would I watch that?
Because it came out in the 70s. You were a kid in the 70s.
Yeah, Al Capone?
Yeah.
Ring a bell. Is it like Hong Kong Phooey or whatever?
Yeah, like Hong Kong Phooey, but he was like that horse.
I don't remember the horse.
Oh.
No, sorry. Anyways,
was Hong Kong Phooey racist? As a concept?
Sure. I don't know. Like, yeah, I'd say.
It seemed pretty rough.
Against dogs.
Hilarious. But it's kind of rough.
I will say one of my favorite things in life right now is that when there's these old videos or cartoons that come out and they're like, we're done in an era and it's like really aged poorly, they'll say like, hey, you know what? This was made at a time. It's like, it's good to be honest like that. Don't cover up. It's like when you see a commercial or
don't delete it. Don't get rid of it. Just like say like, hey, yeah.
I was at the Texas State Fair many moons ago with a friend of mine, and there was a section of old advertisements that were just blatantly racist. There was no. I have pictures of them. I was so stunned. And you think like, oh, this is a fake ad, but like Uncle Remus's rice, which was like a spin on Uncle Ben, but it was like ripped off. But it was just littered with racist tropes. It was amazing. I was like, this really existed? Like, oh yeah. So yeah, those cartoons and such. Anyways, getting back here, LePage Turner, our IWAR world champion, talks about defending against Mick Ferrari. He's hoping that Tommy Zulu destroys Kabuki Dragon, and he's really looking forward to being the one who ends Punk Rock Mike's reign on the 2-year anniversary of Punk Rock Mike beating him for the global title. So that'll be at Autumn Anarchy. But of course, Johnny Carnage might have something to say about that because he's going to be the third person in that triple threat match. Pain and Destruction, they jump Johnny Carnage, they jump Monster Truck Tanaka, they talk about their plans to dominate the BRL, they want to go after Mick Ferrari because they have beef over that. Greg wants a title shot at Tanaka, so he's trying to get that to happen. He also wants to destroy the Carnival Profit, so a lot on the plate of Pain and Destruction. Let's see here. Seth Adamsley talks about his match against Quick Kill Incorporated, and while they may have lost, at least he settled their feud. He talked about Lethal Lottery Tag Tournament, calls up Mike Cook to settle that score. On the other side of things, Wisp, his partner, talks about being fed up with the monster truck Tanaka keeps crashing his meetings with Dick Jackson. He talks about Mike Cook. He's not a champion, but somehow he wants to stick his nose in all my business. He's also calling out Wolf because he wants to deal with that, and Wolf is leader of the Royal Family of Doom. We got Stevie Vertigo on commentary as Johnny Carnage takes on Mick Ferrari, and Stevie likes to, mix it up with Shooter and Jim Bossy. Meanwhile, during the match, Ferrari escapes with a win despite the best efforts, and he gets out of town before they can get a hold of him. But that Mick Ferrari would not join Legends of the New Wave, so that's still unsettled. We got Mike Cook showing up, calling out Wolf because he wants to be his friend, but says he won't be him. Claims he's a one-man wolf pack.
What?
Yeah, he's a one-man wolf pack. He wants to be part of the Royal Family of Doom, which coincidentally, later on when they do their promo, they talk about how some of the members want him to join the stable and other ones don't. White Claw Outlaws talk about the Von Schnaps. They have 100% of their focus, so we're going to get a final one head-to-head showdown at Autumn Anarchy. Punk Rock Mike and the Savages talk about having no problems at all, being excited about the global title match. 26 wants to face Wisp one more time, kind of settle their best-of-3 series, if you will. Mike talks about being the runner-up in the Johnny B. Cup, almost winning it. Still pretty impressive, because last year Punk Rock Mike did great in the Summer Series. He won it the year before that, and Mike's doing really well in the Summer Series this year. So one of the more consistent wrestlers in the IWAR. The Olympians, the Olympians discussed winning the global tag titles but losing the six-man, planning to regain them, but also planning to run through Bound for Glory and get a shot at the IWAR Championship, whatever it takes. Mysterious Benefactor, who's been a really interesting character in the BRL, so he came in and he put up his own money, big money, against, Waldick Kowalski. And Waldick upset him. Not to be outdone, he bounced back. He said, I'm going to issue a $1 million best-of-5 challenge. So the Mysterious Benefactor is issuing a $1 million best-of-5 challenge, and all the other opponent person has to put up is $250K. So if you're a newer wrestler and you want to have a chance to whip some cash up big time, here's your chance. And you might say, well, it's imaginary cash, what am I going to do with it? The way to look at it's like this. One, you win it, it makes your record look better, all that, and that's, impressive winnings, right? But two, when the IWA has that loss drop down the road, if you want to drop 20 losses, it's $500K. There you go. It's like a freebie. Next up, Tommy Zulu, the Mad Dog. He warns LePage Turner not to mess with him. Now, he was a guest referee in that match. Turner thinks he cost him the match against Kabuki Dragon, but Tommy's saying he's going to destroy Kabuki in the cage match. Farmer vs. RX Payne demands a rematch with the Carnival Profits. It's really not settling well with him. Johnny Carnage wonders if he can keep up with these kids these days, but after a little pep talk from Stevie Vertigo, he's more confident than ever. Colonel Doom vows to win the Summer Series because no one is of his caliber. He wants Tanaka to stay out of his business, that they are the Triangle of Terror, Pain and Destruction. And he looks to renew his feud with Mick Ferrari, which never got settled while he was in the NWL. Flashy Jack and Rob Ratliff are hanging out, enjoying the victory following Johnny B. Cup. They talk about what's next on their agenda, climbing the ladder, being the best at IWA. And they ambush Wrestling Demon Drugs in an alley. And what do they hit him with, Alex?
Crack?
No, a guitar. A crack-filled guitar. There's a fantastic TikTok that I cannot talk about right now that mentions crack. And it's hilarious, but it's filthy.
Good for you.
I'll send it to you. Mannequin number 3 does all the talking, and he comes out here and he says, hey, you know what? White Claw Outlaws, Von Schnaps, Roman Death, we don't care. We're the best tag team. We won the Bad Company Cup. They're coming out. They're having a strong run. They were runner-up in the Murano. So they're basically saying, enough of this talk of who you guys being the best. It's us. So look for the Samoan Death Grip to get involved here, because I think there's going to be a little more feuds brewing down the road. Next up, Rick Grady talks about his love for country, how much he loves this country, on July 4th. And he says he's going to win the tournament to get challenged with LePage Turner. He looks forward to Showdown with Nick Ferrari. So that's going to be a cage match at Autumn Anarchy. And, put that one to bed. And I think Rhett's going to be really busy in the BRL. Kabuki Dragon says he dresses like Liu Kang. Liu Kang, now that's Mortal Kombat, right?
That's correct.
Okay, that was the black pants and the red belt.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. That's just sad. He says he'll give Tommy Zulu a hell of a fight because he's a fighting champion. He wants to put his pure championship up, which we're still negotiating. But it'll be a cage match, and he says, hey, in a caged animal, he bites, and he bites hard.
Ooh.
That's right. The Schmidt brothers vow to get their act together and turn this year around. It is the halfway point, so there's still time. Plenty of time, guys. Rainbow Pony may have lost his smile, but he's getting it back, and he's going back to his fabulous look to show everyone how fabulous he is. PhD, Brett, Hall, and Duke. Get ready. They brought out their grandmother, Mama Bell, and she gives Rich Lather. I know you got to read the promo. Anyways, Mama Bell. Let's just say she's she could possibly be part of those cartoons we talked about from the past. So there you go. Read that one up. There's a newcomer to the VRL. Very excited about this guy. His name is Jack Tupp. He's jacked up, and he's calling out Agent 26 because he's first on his list. He's going to make an example of him for the league. But what does that all mean? So we'll see what happens. I enjoy jacked up. Carnival Profits talking about all these other tag teams, and I'm really surprised because they're the unpredictable ones. And I kind of like the way they talk about all the great teams and the Fox brothers. Oh, that's one of my favorite insults. They say it like that, like all the top contenders around here, and you. Royal Family Feud. We talked about that. Oh, this is my favorite promos. This is bizarre but fun. Ronnie Diarmond talks gleefully about his tag team partner, Brahmo Baron, and how he is very careful to keep himself involved in the lives of children. So what he does is he tracks all the local school. It gets better. He tracks all the local school field trips. And when he finds out they're going to a certain place, he makes sure to get up extra early and drink extra protein shakes. So if they're going to a museum for a field trip, he then goes to the museum and crop dusts the kids.
Good for you.
Steal that one.
His record is making 13 children and teachers sick from crop dusting. So good on him. And finally, Dr. Piledriver, MD, who returned to the BRL after a lengthy absence. Dr. Piledriver, MD, one half of the most infamous tag team in quite a long time, Western Medicine. He was himself and Cowboy Jim Spur.
Overrated.
He showed up.
Overrated.
Oh, he crashed Adam Cash's promo to tell him he's going to watch his back for him as long as he'll do a favor for him and find his old partner, Cowboy Jim Spur. So Adam Cash got roped into like hunting down Jim Spur and finding him, but no one knows where he went. He went in the insane asylum, and then he broke out, and then he was released, and he got caught, and all these things happened. So what will this mean for the BRL?
Nothing.
There you go. So, Alex, did you post anything on the chat about what I sent you earlier?
I'm about to.
There it is. All right, well. All right, folks. We've waited all night for this. A very special item to be debuted here.
Yep.
Eventually.
Working on it. Jesus Christ.
Do you have the most updated BRL, Matt? Because there's some Whoop-Ass Inc. TTs as well.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
Maybe an online one. They might have got added.
Okay. Oh, I guess I had the old one. Whoop-Ass Incorporated. Mick Ferrari. Well, this is not a long one. Oh. No, I thought Sam Hain was in the IWL, but he's still cutting promos in the BRL. This happens every so often. I always tell people, make sure if you're going to do promos in the,
Yeah, maybe he submitted it late and it got put in the wrong one or something.
So Sam Hain is raising hell over in the IWL.
Is he?
That's a good fit for Sam Hain, I think.
He was going over the IWL.
All right, Matt, you want to explain to the folks what this is?
That's right, folks. Right there you see the lovingly crafted first ever
That's
IWAR
awesome.
I Dig That t-shirt. That's right. I'll be wearing that on my journey out to the Gen Con so I can get a picture in Willowick once I meet Johnny B in person. That's right.
Could be yours for only $49.99.
A low price is 3 installments of $99.99. You can do to work.
First of all, I want to know if anyone's ever purchased any Time Life music sets from those commercials. Has anyone actually bought anything from those commercials that we used to watch, in between Crockett TV shows?
I will tell you this. I had a friend who had those. Remember those books like, want to know more? Buy the book. Remember those, like, there was like all like mysteries of the Old West. He once shot a man just for snoring. I had a friend in my neighborhood who had all those books.
Time Life is
Time Life books, like Time Life, whatever the hell it was. I don't know, encyclopedia or books, and it talked about like weird things, extraterrestrials. You can find that commercial. But yeah, so I'll be wearing that. I Dig That.
Sensual Souls from the 70s. Anyone else had a Columbia House membership like me and I've never paid?
Oh boy.
They couldn't destroy my credit because I was 7.
Sam Hain is the IWL TV champion, so there it is.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
That's
saying.
why he gets paid the big bucks.
Yeah, I told you. He's doing great over there.
So Mick Ferrari gives a message to Sam Hain to give to Rod Camino. And and the best part is he goes, "What is the message?" Mick gives him the middle finger. There you go. That's a message everyone can relate to.
Yeah.
So Mick talks about Colonel Doom, and he's, kind of like, walks towards him, talks about,
Was Colonel Doom ever a private?
Maybe there'll be like a prequel at some point. It'll be like Private Doom in like the indie leagues,
I think he did an NWLTT where he got to be like an officer for a day and was like going around arresting people. That was kind of fun.
What's the way you do it?
So Mick Ferrari says he has pictures of Colonel Doom at a Backstreet Boys concert.
Good for him.
And he threatens to release those pictures if he doesn't back off. So,
that could get ugly.
This is not over. So,
well, there's only so much that Mick Ferrari can be called a sheep shagger by Colonel Doom. So,
hey, that was right. That was the big thing. I will say, speaking of Backstreet Boys or like those kind of boy bands, I gotta think that New Kids toured Boston recently because I saw so many people posting.
Was Donnie with them?
Who?
Donnie Wahlberg?
I think he was. What else is he gonna be doing?
Isn't he on Blue Bloods right now?
What's Blue Bloods besides like your grandparents?
It says Bags and PI in it.
He got punched out by Barry Stevens.
He did.
It's a good time. Anyways, I just, Mick Ferrari cutting promos on everybody. His $80,000 Brioni suit. I gotta look up what those are.
Brioni suits? I used to sell them at my old job.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're Italian. They're very nice.
Are they $80,000 worth?
Maybe like $8,000.
I need to buy a new suit. My suit's I think like 20 years old.
Go down to Caracos and you get them. You get like 7 suits for $2.99.
Caracos? Is that like a place or a store?
Yeah, it's a store.
The hell's that?
You never heard of Caracos?
No.
It's a store where you can buy 7 suits for $2.99.
Is it like Chess King?
What the hell? What the fuck's a Chess King?
Or Tellos?
What's a Tellos?
You didn't have Tellos? Tellos like those like these. I would say comparatively. Picture like if someone took the dollar store and made it for fashion.
No.
Man, and it was like
Caraco just sells suits.
Oh.
But you get like you can get like 4 suits, socks, a tie, a belt for like $299.
Well, getting back to Mick Ferrari's non-suits, he talks about Country Hammer Rhett Grady. Because Mick's got a lot going on. Like, keep in mind, Mick Ferrari is one of the busier competitors. He's got like all these reviews going on. And one of the hard parts of the game, people will often say, like, well, if I focus on one wrestler, it's easier. And it's like, true. But what happens if that one wrestler falls off the map, disappears, whatever, goes inactive,
Drago Tanaka.
Thank you. Like that. And Steve Vertigo got a lot going on, so it's not the only thing. So Mick Ferrari, talking about a lot of people. Well, he's got a big match coming up at Autumn Anarchy. It's a steel cage match, but against Rhett Grady. Now, this is the thing. It's not just a steel cage match. He wants to add a stipulation because there's no doubt in this, and then he wants to make sure it's a clean, absolute clean win. So it's going to be an I Quit match. So that's if he accepts, that's some big potatoes right there. So it's a lot of ground to cover, but Mick Ferrari doing a great job. It's really kind of cool how we've had all these really top tier talents: Stevie Vertigo, Mick Ferrari, Flashy Jack, Rhett Grady, Rod Camino. California Gunslinger, Colonel Doom. All these guys coming out and really doing a great job. We're hoping to see more of that come this fall with the IWAR draft. So keep that up. So that's the BRL trash talk. And Alex,
I dig that.
There it is.
Right on cue.
All right, Matt, what do you got for us IWAR wide?
Just a reminder that the IWAR draft is in the works, getting closer. So please, if you want to begin the IWAR draft, please contact us. Let us know now. The earlier the better. We have about 6 or 7 names right now. More to come. We also have the fall events, which is Bound for Glory, Tag Team Derby, Triple D Cup, 6-man tournament, all coming into play, and they're starting to get up there in numbers. I think we have 38 so far in the Bound for Glory. It's still about 14 or 15 in each of the tag and 6-man, but that's a lot to cover. So give it time, get involved. People have been writing me. Let me know if you want to be in, because it's going to be fun. It's only $2 per entry. There's 3 entries per max per event. Give it a go. I will say this: one person wrote to me and asked me. I've never had this been asked, but they asked me to be involved in the IWAR Battle Royal. There's no IWAR Battle Royal. There's the Battle Royal deal, where you can get 2 entries for $1 in the BRL and IWL, but there's no IWAR exclusive Battle Royal, at least not yet. So, but anyways, that's what's going on there. So that's pretty much what's going on IWAR wide. I think we've got. Oh, I'm sorry, I almost forgot one thing. I think I announced it last time, but just a reminder that the second King of the Ring, which is all NWL alumni, was held, and the winner, and the man who can now brag about being the King of the Ring for a year until the next tournament, is highlight of the night, Johnny Vegas from IWL. So there you have it.
There it is. There it is.
All right.
All right, guys. So we are officially out of time. So for Matt, for Aaron, for Alex G, have a good night.